We are started up. 1 second.
I'll still be listening.
All right. Let's see. Let me crack that. And turn up the music a little bit. And get that. Let's see. There we are. There we go. All right. Cheers. Hope you're all having a wonderful Saturday. I'm going to be making some macaroni and cheese today, two different kinds. I'm going to be making one with caramelized onions and bacon. Everything's good with bacon. Everything's good with caramelized onions. So it's going to be special. Cheddar and Gruyere for the sauce. Lots of heavy cream. The other one's going to be cut and dry, pretty straightforward. Just regular mac and cheese. I'm going to be using my regular white sauce that I've done before, as well as doing some cheddar and Velveeta, and that'll melt together and make a nice creamy thing. Today is sponsored by St. Patrick's Day. I know it's been just over 4 months ago, but hey, that was when all of this nonsense started. So it's been, I didn't recognize it last week, but last week was 4 months of this. So this is episode 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start getting this stuff ready. The two things that are going to take the longest are the bacon and the caramelized onions. So I'm going to start caramelized onions first. And caramelizing onions is a lot easier than people think it is. And it is a lot longer than a lot of people think it is. There's a ton of places, it always kills me watching on Food Network and places like that where they talk about, oh yeah, we're going to caramelize the onions for 5 minutes or whatever, or caramelize the onions for 10 minutes. No. Caramelizing onions is a long process of applying a small amount of heat to it. So, for example, I'm just going to be putting it on 4 on my cooktop here. And I'm just putting in about 2-ish tablespoons of butter. And again, whenever I'm doing something like this, I recommend always using real butter. Don't use margarine. Margarine is not a way to happiness. Always the best way to do it is regular butter, partially because you end up cutting back on bad oils. You have some of the good oils, and it's just better for you. Besides, life's too short for that kind of unhappiness. So I'm going to get that butter started up. I'm going to start getting the bacon ready. I already have the oven preheated. Because I'm going to do this stuff in the oven because I want the bacon. I don't know if you've ever had bacon in your macaroni and cheese before, but you want it a little bit crispy. So when you can kind of break it up really easy, you can get it in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 4 pieces of bacon. 1, 2, 3, 4 strips of bacon. I'm going to lay them out on this baking sheet. And one of the tricks here is I am using a cooling rack, and I'll show you here in a second. I'm using a cooling rack in this cooking sheet to help it drain the bacon as it cooks. Because otherwise it's going to come out of here. And this way it'll also, so see, you can just do that right there. I've got it on this cooking sheet, so all of the oil and all the grease drops right away from it. So that's going into a 350 onion oven for as long as it takes. I'm going to set the timer right now for 10 minutes. Just to see what it looks like at that point. And we've got the butter. It is melted. I'm going to get this up so where it's going to start bubbling a little bit. There we go. Looks nice. and I've already julienned a whole onion. The recipe I'm basing this off actually wanted you to do 3 onions, and I'm thinking, man, that's way too much. And for what we're doing, julienning 1 onion, that's going to end up kind of cutting it down. And the whole idea with the caramelization is you are taking the sugars that are in any whatever food you're caramelizing, and you're just kind of just browning them up, so it makes the whole thing a little bit sweeter. I'm going to take all that's in there. One thing I always find that helps, I'm going to throw a couple more tablespoons of butter and just drop a whole tablespoon. 1 right there and 1 right there. And then so those will melt down through as they need to go. And so you just have to sit there. I've got the heat up. I'm going to drop that. Yeah, I'm going to keep that about 5. And I'm just going to keep an eye on that and every so often stir it so everything gets to roll around a little bit. Sometimes if I'm caramelizing, I'll also use a little bit of olive oil, maybe a little bit of corn oil. It just depends on what I'm up to. So with that, I'm going to start boiling the water. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day today. Up here is a couple of comments. I'm going to take a look here in a second. There we go. And let's get a little more water in there. So what I have here is a 1 pound, 16-ounce bag of water. You know, 16-ounce bag of just plain elbow macaroni, and I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to cook that all up together, and then I'm going to split it up and separate it into the 2. This is about a half teaspoon of salt into the water. I'm going to split the macaroni up into 2 separate bowls once I get the cheese sauce set up. Let's get my little spatula in here. But yeah, I hope everybody is happy and healthy and safe. I think I was going to go take a look at that. While I'm doing that, one of the things I always like to do with a little bit, you don't want to get too crazy with it. A little sprinkle of sugar and a little sprinkle of salt on my onions when I caramelize them. There we go. Let me go take a look, see what those comments are. I see, hey, Charles is on there. Awesome. Yep, Charles Dalmas. He is a friend of mine, another fellow former bandsman that I never served with. I believe he's living in Europe right now. But I posted yesterday about what I should cook, and he popped on almost immediately suggesting that I make macaroni and cheese, and I was thinking, you know what? That's an awesome idea. So I'm making macaroni and cheese today. All right, my water's almost at a boil. That is one of the best things. A couple people have commented over time about my cooktop. This is this particular cooktop is not your conventional glass cooktop. This one uses magnetic energy to heat up the iron that's in the pots to heat them up. And so it's really neat that way how it works. But the great thing about that is, by the way it works, it is able to boil water in just a heartbeat. So I really, now that I'm thinking about it, I should have started the boiling of the water a little bit earlier. But as soon as I get this water, as soon as I get the macaroni in and I start cooking it, that's when I'm going to start on both of these other sauces. So I've got, in this one, 4 ounces of Gruyere, 4 ounces of cheddar. This is the one that the onions and the bacon are going to go into. And the regular one is cheddar and Velveeta. And that's the one that I'm going to be using for my just the regular macaroni and cheese. Partially because everybody's got one of those households where some people want it, some people don't. Almost boiling. So, oh, and then just by the way, today's drinking Blue Moon Mango Wheat. It's always yummy. Water's almost going. Onion is, and you'll know you're starting to get to the right direction when the onion starts getting all floppy and loose in there. But the best thing you can do is just let it sit and sit and sit and sit. The longer that it caramelizes, you're going to start getting towards the brown that you want. You're going to start getting to the flavor that you want. And you're going to turn any onion into just something really nice and sweet and really rich in the way of flavor. And honestly, it's one of those things that I think a lot of the cooking shows by professionals tend to spoil it for you because they act like a lot of this stuff takes just a snap. And to get some of this stuff done right, it's going to take 10, 15, 20 minutes. And so there we go. Water's boiled. Let's get all the macaroni out of there. There we go. Let's do. But yeah, this induction cooktop is always nice. It has been just an amazing thing. The only way that we were able to afford it is we needed to replace the original cooktop that was here when we bought this house. And when we did that, Sears happened to be having an amazing sale because the local Sears was closing down, and we got this cooktop for 1/5 of the price that it was originally. So we really lucked out. If you can afford it, if you can swing it sometime, if you can find a really good deal, I would highly recommend switching out for this. And just especially if you get a good deal, you'll be saving money on switching over to this kind of cookware. You can't use your aluminum stuff. That doesn't work on it. There's different types of plates you can use that will help diffuse that heat. You could use cast iron, but really for the most part, we're just dealing with a lot of the other. We had to get new cookware, but we saved so much money that it was easily worth it. And by the directions, we are looking at 7 minutes. I've got the timer set. I'm going to take a peek at the bacon. Bacon's starting to slightly cook, which means I can start looking at the other parts of my sauces. So I was thinking about doing, a lot of us are used to the macaroni and cheese where you have to bake it. And really, honestly, nobody wants to see me throw something together and then throw it in the oven and stand here for 10 minutes. Unless, of course, you do, then let me know, and we might be able to make an arrangement. This is yummy. All right, it's an acquired taste, but it's a taste I like. All right. Make sure all the noodles are broken up. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and take that to 6 on the onions. I'm going to go ahead also, and at the same time, I'm going to start working on my other sauces. I'm going to do my Gruyere in the back here because I'm going to be adding so much more stuff. I'm going to be doing the plain right up front, and I'll go ahead and start. Actually, I'm going to start on the. I think I'm going to start on the plain one up front because once I get that to a good point, then I think I can kind of shut that off and let it sit. That's going nicely. I'm going to put that on. Let's see here. Let's set that one on about 3.5. Now I'm going to start this out with my basic white sauce. My basic white sauce. I'm going to be needing some more milk here, I think. My basic white sauce. Yeah, I think I'm really going to be needing some more milk. What do we have here? That is 10 minutes on the bacon. The bacon is going to need another, as long as I can get it in there. See, and part of the problem is I also don't ever take any time to practice all of this stuff, so very definitely I could do something a little bit different for that perspective. So, my basic white sauce. 2, 2, and 2. 2 tablespoons of butter. Once that gets mostly melted in, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of flour, and then I'm going to whisk that up. Once that gets in, I'm going to let it get a little bit bubbly, and I'm going to add a half cup of milk. Oh yeah. You hear the onions, I hope. Smelling good. A little bit of color starting to show up. I need to come in here for my little whisk. My little whisk. Actually, I don't need that little whisk yet. I'm going to need the big whisk for this one. I'm going to get that in there. Let's let this all sit down in. Make sure all the heat and the butter are getting through all the onion. All right. So I've got my flour. I've got my butter is just about melted. And I'm just doing the butter on about 3. There's a tablespoon. Another tablespoon. Again, big canister. This is my least favorite spoon that we've owned. Turned it into a nice little scoop I can pull up. Everybody has a least favorite spoon in their kitchen. So, got the whisk. I'm going to start bringing that together. And while that's sitting together, I'm going to add a little bit of milk. There we go. Bringing the onions a little bit back down to medium now that I'm seeing some more color starting to show up. And see, that's what I'm talking about, is you can't rush the onions. Because if you try to rush them really quick on like high heat, you're just going to burn them and they're not going to caramelize. And again, if you're coming in late, today is sponsored by St. Patrick's Day. Simply because on St. Patrick's Day, that was the beginning of all this nonsense of shutting down and nobody actually shutting down. So you wonder why we are back to where we are after Memorial Day and then after July 4th. And everybody deciding, you know what, we're not going to shut down. We're going to go out and get everybody sick. All right, I'm going to keep the milk out here because I might need some more of it for that cheese sauce. I'm going to get, just in case I don't have enough of it, I picked up some extra heavy whipping cream. So I've got, for my special sauce, hey, I do have enough. Good. That's 4 ounces of milk, 4 ounces of heavy whipping cream. Anyways, add a little more heavy whipping cream. Here we go. And I'm going to be putting that back in here. And to that, I'm going to be adding the 4 ounces of cheddar cheese that I shredded and the 4 ounces of Gouda that I shredded. And I'm going to start that up. Also about 4. Give the onions a little bit of a toss. Make sure my white sauce is going to start. There we go. My white sauce looks pretty good. I'm about to pull the macaroni off. So as part of that, I'm not going to get too much more involved in this stuff. Except I am going to toss my cheese in. There we go. I'm going to toss my cheese in for the sauce that the onions and the bacon are going to go into. And I am going to grab this spatula just to break that up a little bit and give it a chance to kind of mix in. I'm going to put that to 3. So I've got like 4 things going right now. All I need to do is, I was thinking at one point about doing the bacon up here too on the cooktop, but that would have just been a mess. All right, so I've got the cheese sitting in the milk and cream mixture. That's going to hang out. That is my macaroni sink. It's all done. I'm going to dump this into the colander. All right. Turn that off. I'm going to turn that down to 3. So the macaroni kind of decided didn't want to get out of the pan. There we go. Macaroni is out. One last stray. That macaroni, what's cooked through, is al dente. To the bite. That's what al dente means. All right. Okay, this is starting to thicken up, which means I need to. This thing with white sauce, once it starts to thicken up, it really starts to thicken up. So I'm going to pull this heat down, and I am going to dump this cheese. And I think I'm going to put a little bit more milk just to let it do its thing. There we go. So I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Not exactly the healthiest food I'm making here. There we go. So let's see if this is melting. I'm going to put both of these with the cheese up to 4. Just to give it a chance to do its thing. And what's going to end up happening is here in a second, I'm going to put as these start to get done. Oh yeah. I want to get a little bit more color in these. I'm going to put the onions back up a little bit. Get a little bit of brown on those. There we go. I'm going to put a little bit of cold water on the macaroni and cheese. Just cool it down so it stops cooking. Not quite making a macaroni salad. This all still really hot down in there. It's going to continue to cook until you cool it off. There we go. Yeah, that's just about right. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take about half of this into this pan. I'm going to hold on to the other half of it. I'm going to go ahead and kick these onions up. All right, and I'm going to take the heat up on the cheese sauces. And I'm thinking any minute now I'm going to get the alarm coming off of the stove and from the oven saying that the bacon is about done. You know, something I can even do. There we go. That sauce is starting to be pretty good. So I think what I'm ready to do now is once I get a little bit more color in the onions, I'll be wanting to add those in. think I am going to go ahead and add the macaroni. Let's check how the oven is. I'm going to let that go just as much longer as I can without getting uncomfortable. Okay. Our status right now, I've got 2 cheese sauces going, Gruyere and cheddar, and then cheddar and Velveeta. And I think what I am ready to do here is I am going, once this cheddar, I'm going to kick the cheddar and Velveeta up a little bit just to get it so it's bubbling and melting that. The cheddar and Gruyere with all that milk and everything in there, I don't want to get that one too hot because I don't want to cook the milk the hard way. There we go. These are really starting to look good. And then I'm also going to add to the, there we are, a little bit of cayenne and a little bit of paprika to the cheddar and Gruyere. Just sprinkling some in there. A couple of different flavors. And I know there's going to be a little bit of a cross-contamination of flavors on these, the way that I'm using the same spatula. There we go. And I think I'm going to add just a touch, if I can find it, a little touch of cornstarch. I don't know where the cornstarch is, but you know what I can do also? Instead of trying to find the cornstarch, I'm going to use a little bit of flour. Helps thicken up. Helps it thicken up that sauce in the back there. There we go. A little bit of flour, a little bit of water. And I stir that in, and that'll just thicken right up. So, always a good thing to do. Everybody's being awfully quiet today. I've had a couple of people pop in and pop out. There we go. Yep. I'm going to put this macaroni down in there. Alright, there we are. I think those onions are about where we need them to be. I'll show you the color here in a second. There we go. Into the sink. I'm going to stir that in. Just let that sit on some low heat. And this cheese sauce, I'm going to go ahead and pour right over the macaroni. I'll have to show you here in a second what this all looks like. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the onions. All right. I think it came out of the box. I'm going to bring that one up to the front. Turn that one off. Put that one down. So I keep heating up a little bit. Let's check how our bacon is. It's still cooking. But I think what I might do is I might take the onions out of this skillet and then throw the bacon in the skillet and finish it up there. Alright, let's get a little bowl for the onions. So this is what the onions end up looking like. Nice little, a lot of good color on there. And so just to do that to caramelize onions the right way, it is not a quick process. I don't care what anybody on Food Network says. It's one of those things that you have to sit and do for a while. I'm going to put that one back up. I'm going to grab this bacon out. And I'm going to throw the bacon right on top. Stop that oven. Okay, this bacon, it's mostly cooked. It's just not as crispy as I want. So I'm going to set this over to the side. Oh, a little bit of bacon grease. There's bacon grease all over the bottom of that thing. And I think what I'm going to do here is I am going to grab some shears. Help cut that up a little bit. One of these years I'm going to get myself some real, kind of like what you see sometimes on some of the different Korean shows. You'll see them using these huge Korean cooking shears. They're just awesome. You'll see them at Korean barbecues, other places like that. So I hope everybody is having a good day, and I hope that those of you who are sitting here watching this are having a good time watching. There we go. I'm going to let that cook a little bit more, and because of the oil that's popping off of it, get my splatter cover going. All right. Turn my fan a little bit. I'm going to get a spoon into that one because it's done. The regular macaroni and cheese, it's done right now. It's ready to go. I'm going to get a little taste test. Nice, creamy, cheesy. Got some good stuff. It's a good tang to it. There's some things I could do. I could have thrown like a little bit more Velveeta, some other cheap. I might have switched a little bit of the. So I had 4 ounces cheddar and 4 ounces of Velveeta with my white sauce, and so I might have upped the American cheese, dropped the cheddar cheese a little bit, make it a little bit more palatable for little kids. All right, let's see how the. All right, we're starting to get a little more crispy here. That's what we want. We want crispy, but not like completely burnt. That's one of the things I like about doing it in the oven, is you can kind of get it a little more control of where it's crispy but not burnt. Another thing I could do right here is just use I've got a serrated knife I could use, cut it right hand, but shears work a little bit better. You know what, I think I'm going to call this about the right size. I could just sit there and just get it all the way down and get it all crumbly, but That's bacon oil is starting to, bacon grease is starting to smoke up. All right, I think we're going to call that good. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this and do my usual. Let's drop that there. Let's get that over there. I'm going to get that's the oven timer that I didn't turn off. All right, that's cooled down enough. All right, I'm going to get this bacon pulled out. So I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. I am enjoying doing this because I haven't made macaroni and cheese from scratch in forever. There we go, nicely cooked. Oh, I see somebody's commented. Hey, Katie, how are you doing? Yes, I am using scissors on the bacon. Using tongs to pick it up and using the scissors to get it down to where I want so it cooks faster. And it works really well. And I know that you've seen enough Korean dramas to know that you've seen people cutting all kinds of stuff with scissors. All right. So that is mostly taken care of. I'm going to take this. I'm going to squeeze that down to get any last grease out of it. And now I'm going to drop all this bacon in to the pan. There we go. So this is with a little bit of, that's the Gruyere and cheddar with some bacon, and now I'm going to toss it with my caramelized onion. Oh, that looks so good. There we go. I'm using my tester spoon. I'm gonna make sure I get a little bit of everything in there. So there's a little bit of onion, the macaroni. I got some bacon in there. Wow, that's some good stuff. That's some really yummy stuff. All right, so I've got my macaroni and cheese with caramelized bacon, caramelized onion and bacon. I've got my plain macaroni and cheese. Let me, I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go ahead and do an unusual thing. Is I'm going to pull the camera down so you can see this. And so there's the macaroni and cheese with the caramelized onion and the bacon. And there's the regular mac and cheese. And if you go back and you see how I did all of this, you'll get a chance to understand what's going on with it. So let's see here. And I think that is all that she wrote. So I know that we've been doing this now. It's, man, this has been a long one, 42 minutes. So I will go ahead and kill this, and I will get back to my family, and we will have our lunch, albeit a little bit late. And so if you do make these recipes, go ahead and let me know what they're like, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.